Hey everyone, this is Scott Small, Director of Cyber Threat Intelligence at Tidal Cyber, and today I want to show you how you can use a free tool, Tidal's Community Edition, to identify changes in the tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs, associated with a highly active malware, Cuba Ransomware, and easily pivot into defensive capabilities lined up directly with its latest techniques. I have a quick workflow to walk through that I think can be completed by analysts at any skill level, so I really encourage you to try recreating it for yourself. On December 1st, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency released the latest in its Stop Ransomware series of alerts on ransomware that have been highly active over the past year, targeting especially U.S. critical infrastructure organizations, but also many others. This new alert highlights how the number of organizations compromised by Cuba ransomware in the United States has doubled since just this time last year, and how ransoms demanded by and paid to Cuba's operators are on the rise. According to data that we can observe from threats published on Cuba's dark web extortion website, the group doesn't publicly threaten as many victims as other top ransomware groups, but we did notice a large uptick in threatened victims just last month. CISA's alert notes multiple times how Cuba ransomware operators have added to or modified the TTPs used in their attacks just since this spring. This represents clear, timely evidence of a key trend that we at Tidal have observed in recent times and recently had a chance to write more about: TTP evolution. Key cyber adversaries are adjusting their behaviors often, in some cases extremely quickly, highlighting the importance of taking a threat-informed approach to cyber defense. Check out our overview of this trend and a case study involving another highly active malware, CACbot, on our blog for more details. To view a baseline of Cuba ransomware's TTPs, we can hop into the Tidal Community Edition and quickly load a matrix containing the techniques currently associated with the ransomware within the MITRE ATT&CK knowledge base. According to the references made available in the knowledge base, this technique information derives from a detailed April 2021 McAfee technical analysis of the malware. We can then use a few features available in the Community Edition to visualize more recent intelligence around this threat. Entirely within the user interface, a user can click the plus sign in the ribbon at the top of the matrix and begin to create a new custom technique set based on the intelligence contained in the recent CISA alert. CISA's alerts are extremely useful because they typically come with tables containing details at all three levels of MITRE ATT&CK's data model: tactics, techniques, and procedures. We can use the builder to easily add new attack techniques to our set. I like to use the notes feature to add the procedural details of a technique's implementation, especially when intelligence reporting provides easy-to-use tables like the ones in CISA's alerts. This is a great workflow that can be accomplished all within the Community Edition web app. But if you happen to have some experience with the Attack Navigator tool or some limited scripting experience, I'll show you my preferred way to create custom Tidal technique sets. Building these sets is as simple as importing an existing Attack Navigator JSON layer file. I like to make a quick CSV file containing as few as 2 columns of data and run a very slightly modified version of a Python script published by the attack team. This will take excellent intelligence reporting like the content within the recent CISA alert and create a navigator layer with all the same pieces of information structured for easy upload into Tidal's Community Edition. Now we can begin to use the Community Edition to identify Cuba ransomware's latest techniques and use other key features of the platform to quickly pivot from recent TTPs into actionable next steps. To close out our walkthrough, I want to layer on the new technique set that we just built to identify recent interesting TTPs for defensive work. To add more depth to the baseline TTP data from the MITRE ATT&CK knowledge base, I've simply added another custom technique set that I built using the same steps as before, based on another somewhat older intelligence report from Mandiant on a Cuba ransomware campaign published in February. From here, we'll finally add the technique set around the CISA alert, which again focuses on TTPs added to Cuba's arsenal since this spring. The combined matrix shows clearly that the CISA alert mainly spotlights techniques not covered by earlier CTI reports. The MITRE ATT&CK and Mandiant reports overlap to a degree, but the new CISA report mainly covers unique, more recently observed techniques. So we've used Tidal Community Edition to quickly visualize the most recent techniques associated with the threat. That's really great, but what can defenders actually do with this intelligence? From here, we should use the handy pivoting capabilities native to the Community Edition. A core value provided by the platform is the unification of various threat intelligence and defensive resources into a single hub, all organized around MITRE ATT&CK techniques. We can click on any technique in a matrix or search for them in the bar up top to learn details about the technique and, importantly, surface related resources such as various defensive capabilities, open source analytics, offensive security tests and emulations, and even data sources relevant to the technique. We can see the spotlights on Cuba's recent techniques highlighted in CISA's reporting, but it's probably helpful if we can narrow down even further to one or two to really focus on improving our defenses around. One that immediately stood out to me was the LSAS memory technique. I happen to remember seeing this in a lot of other intelligence reporting over the past year and recall that it has a ton of open source analytics like Sigma rules that map to it. From here, we should revert to the original source reporting to validate how exactly Cuba operators use this technique in recent campaigns, since in this case especially, there are many different ways that the technique can be carried out. Here, it looks like a lot of functions being called, which may be difficult to recognize just with Sigma rule-based detection. Alternatively, we could consider some countermeasures around Cuba's efforts to disrupt security tools and technologies during its attacks. We can see a list of specific security-related utilities that the ransomware specifically searches for and seeks to disable before continuing its attack. Pivoting in the Community Edition, we can see a whopping 48 open source analytics built around recognizing instances of this one technique. This brings me to a point that I don't think gets emphasized enough. As key adversaries continue to routinely evolve their technique sets, I really think it's worth strengthening and testing your defenses around not just the specific technique implementations associated with your priority adversaries today, but also other known uses of those techniques. Having this wealth of information around procedural variations in both detection and test format right at your fingertips is extremely powerful for this approach. I do want to note that after digging down into the reporting, I ultimately wasn't able to quickly recognize existing detections in the public Sigma repository that seemed to directly apply to the procedures described in the reports at a very quick glance, at least. This doesn't mean we've totally wasted our time, though. We can keep digging in to learn about some more of this ransomware's most recent techniques, how they work, and how Cuba implemented them. It's also worth validating whether the tools in your specific security stack might have capabilities to address these or some other Cuba techniques. And of course, review the guidance provided in the CISA alert itself. I highly encourage you to also check out Tidal's Community Spotlight. Not only have I already gone ahead and published the technique sets I've shared here today, but you can also explore the dashboard that we're maintaining covering all of the CISA Stop Ransomware alerts. It now covers a total of 6 highly notable ransomware from the past year, enabling you to easily see where there might be TTP overlap or diversity and immediately pivot into associated defensive capabilities. Don't forget to sign up for your Community Edition account to create your own handy matrix overlays using these and many other shared technique sets, or to modify or create your own custom sets. You also get access to our awesome community Slack channel with lots more resources for practitioners and enthusiasts of threat-informed defense. Thanks for watching, and check back soon for more TTP intelligence updates like this on the Tidal website and your favorite social channels.